Hey there everyone, AJ back again for the Mighty Gluestick channel. I make videos about Dungeons & Dragons lore full-time and have a collection of over 600 videos on monster ecology, fantasy world history, character classes, and magic items on my channel. If you like what I do, please consider becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button down below, or backing me on Patreon where you can get access to all of the scripts I write for these vids. Members of either also become members of the Secretive Gluminati on my Discord server, and of course, subscribing to me here as I upload at least twice a week and have a live stream every weekend. Also, I'll be bumping up the bandwidth level on my Discord so you can run clearer, better video chat games. Continuing on with our demon series, where an attempt is made to catalogue and describe every named demon form in the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, I've had a request to cover the very powerful Tanar'ri demon known as the Molydeus, or the plural Molydei. It is said that they are the original angels that Tharizdun set to guard the Shard of Ultimate Evil. It is said that there exists only one for each layer of the Abyss. It is said that even the mighty Baator fear them, and it is said that they alone among the chaotic Tanar'ri are the enforcers of law and order. None of that is true. What is true is that the Molydei are the chosen champions of the Demon Lords, and it is true that there is only one per Demon Lord, because there can only be one per Demon Lord. They're not like other Tanar'ri. They were not one of the original Tanar'ri forms created by the Queen of Chaos. They are not part of the transformative cycle of the species, so a demon doesn't have to reach a certain level of power before it can become a Molydeus. They are instead selected by a demon lord, and using a ritual more ancient than the crystal spheres, they are transformed and empowered by the demon lords directly. First, what are these things? What do they look like? Well, they are 12 feet, or 3.65 meters tall, deep red-skinned humanoids with a very muscular and powerful build. They have two heads, one a savage canine head with eyes that miss absolutely nothing going on in front of it, endowed with godlike true sight shining forth from eyes of silvery hue. The other head, on a long neck and scanning everything going on behind them, is that of a venomous serpent. They don't have a tail, wings, or the usual horns, spines, scales, and so on. They do have wicked claws, and they carry a massive weapon. Most typically, it's depicted as a twin-bladed ornate axe, but it's normally the style of signature weapon associated with the Demon Lord, and it's always very heavily enchanted with demonic magic, so much so that when and if the Molydeus is killed, its weapon melts and dissolves into a puddle of demon ichor, but more on that in a moment. They vary considerably beyond this basic form. Some wear armour, others do not. Some wear nothing but a flowing cape or a cloak of blood-soaked black fabric. Some clothe themselves in illusionary images of writhing maggots, or skinned demons who are somehow still alive and horribly stitched together like living garments. Some wear nothing but grim trophies taken from the bodies of those they have slain, so a vest of tongues and a cloak of rotting eyeballs, for example. They're also very much tied to the particular aesthetic of the Demon Lord who created them. Well, transformed and massively empowered them would be a more accurate term, as would the word possessed. Numerous times I've talked about the nature of demons and the dangers of the corrupting energy. I have compared them to elementals in that they are able to exist without a body. They are the spirits of evil entities from another multiverse, one with quite different broken laws of physics. Many entities exist in the Abyss that are called demons by those who don't know any better, but the original Oberith fled their dying multiverse and escaped into the dimensions of mind, and the nightmare dimensions where imagination and reality become mixed up, a place we call the Far Realm. From there, transformed into non-physical concepts of their former selves, the strongest of them found a means to break through, using the Far Realm as a doorway into the Dungeons & Dragons multiverse. The original Oberith entities were mostly reduced to a screaming and tortured maelstrom of demented and shattered parts of beings, like memories and emotions that have been fragmented and no longer know who or what they once were, but just that they were trapped and are still alive, being torn at and fed upon by every other part, each in a desperate attempt to reform into an actual mind. Those supremely powerful minds which survived this process intact became the Oberith Lords, Dagon, Ugadenk, Obox Ob, Pale Knight, Pazuzu, and many others, while some lesser beings managed to cling to those more powerful entities and come through relatively intact, reforming in nightmarish physical forms that don't obey the physical laws as native beings of the D&D multiverse, such as the Sibriacs, the Golothima, and the Wastrelith. For the vast majority of the rest of the lesser minds of the broken multiverse, they remained a frothing mass of spiritual energy, capable, like elementals, of transforming ordinary matter spontaneously into a physical body to inhabit. Unlike elementals, though, the inert matter doesn't return to its normal natural state once the spirit of the elemental leaves it. The corruption of the Oberth spirits is far more insidious and destructive. It was quite an innovation when the Queen of Chaos figured out that she could use the loathsome floating heads of the Cybriacs to tap into and channel the tormented spirit mass of the lesser Oberth entities and craft specific physical forms. How she did this was to have the Cybriacs latch onto specific emotions or concepts within the massive and alien minds, and use that to siphon off energy, fragments that matched that emotion, memory or concept from the demonic spirit mass, and from that she began to create the Tanar'ri race, her own army of minions, and through that created a form of liberation for the trapped and tortured remnants of her original species. When demons are destroyed, they have to reform again through spawning pits, and they have to fight their way through the nightmare remnants of shattered Oberth spirits all over again. And the process is extremely taxing on their own accumulated spiritual power, because just like elementals, they're made up of spiritual fragments. They don't have one distinct soul like mortal creatures do. Demons and elementals have spiritual essence more like a pool of water. If you take a cup of it, it makes a lesser demon form. If you pour more and more cups of water into it, it becomes a greater demon. And if it's an Olympic-sized swimming pool, it's getting close to becoming a demon lord, which is basically a lake of spiritual essence, so massive you can dip your cup into it for years on end and not even make a dent. Okay, so when a demon lord creates a Molydeus, there is a pouring of demonic energy into another demon form, massively empowering it. And the magic, the ritual used to do this, was designed into Tanar'ri when their species was constructed by the Queen of Chaos. These triggers, these functions, this underlying system rankles them. They hate looking at each other and looking like each other. They hate the order, the law of it. This is why the Queen of Chaos so masterfully bamboozled Obox Ob and the Oberth Lords. The most chaotic thing she could have done was impose law and order on their fundamental chaos and mayhem. They never expected it. The Molydeus is also the personification of that principle. They're about as close as you can get to law and order being manifested within the ranks of the demonic hordes. To the Molydeus, the Tanar'ri were created for a purpose. They are a force of destruction and transformation. All true Tanar'ri should, at all times, be working towards the destruction of the forces of law and goodness. They should be devoting all of their rage and energy to destroying the forces of the Nine Hells and winning the Blood War. They don't care about the mewling masses of non-Tanar'ri which spontaneously form from the spawning pits. They will mow them down or funnel them in strategic directions if need be, nor do they care much about the other fiendish races, such as the Yugoloths or the Night Hags. They're merely parasites who have become part of the tactics of the war effort, such as the chaotic Slardi and the occasional interloping mortal, or the detested Celestials when they dare to leave their safe and lofty conceptual realms and risk becoming mired in the Blood War. The creation process ties into some of the original primordial magic, and thus, when a demon pours a great deal of personal spiritual power into, and then permanently bonds with the new Molydeus, its link is manifested as the serpent head that sprouts from the new demon's shoulders. It's through the serpent head that the demon lord sees all and hears all that the Molydeus does, and through the serpent head that it speaks, issuing orders directly to its minions. The Molydeus are literally the loudspeakers of the demon lords. They allow the demon lord to keep close and personal tabs on more than one place at the same time, which is obviously a huge tactical advantage. In the Fiendish Codex 1 Horde of the Abyss, we learn that the Molydei have much more than just political power thanks to this direct connection to the demon lord. They're also able to bust other demons back to being nothing more than pathetic manes. The very concept of being reduced to a barely sapient, wretched weakling is a proposition quite terrifying to nearly all demons. If they lose that much power and are then destroyed before they can manage to accumulate the power back again, there's no way they will remain mentally intact, respawning as essentially a blank slate, all past memories stripped away. Just more fragments for the nightmare. Demons know there is worse things than not existing at all, and that would be one of them. Molydei serve a specific demon lord, even as they work under the tactical authority of a dominant Baator. They do so for the sake of the war effort and to keep tabs on the Baator's performance, at the same time that they are relaying information from the demon lord to its Baator generals, so to speak. This sounds much more organised than it really is. More often than not, the Molydei roam the abyss, seeking out other demons to enlist into the blood war, swelling the ranks of the demon lords. Molydei are typically found working as a lone wolf, or with a small entourage of very experienced capable demons, typically Mariliths, which they enjoy working with. A Molydeus has the authority to summon Baalors, Cluriches, and other powerful demons in its missions as an enforcer of the demon lord's will, and though they are physically more formidable than the Molydei, the greater demons also never risk what would happen to them should they refuse a summons or lash out at the demon lord's own agent. They certainly could, but it would end badly for them. Molydei can also summon Chasme or Babao demons at will, forming a larger press gang force in order to crack heads and dominate mobs of unruly demons. Together, they recruit and punish as they see fit. It is possible for a powerful spellcaster to actually summon a Molydeus, but they are notoriously dangerous and almost impossible to control, due to their link to the Demon Lord. Now, about that weapon they carry. The Molydeus is bound to its weapon, and if it is stolen, they will hunt after whoever stole it until such time as they reclaim it, and slowly and horribly kill whoever stole it. The reason why they are bound to the weapon is because they share life force with it. The weapon itself is actually another form of demon. If the weapon is destroyed, or it is obvious that they're never going to be able to get it back, they will then make the arduous journey all the way to the 400th layer of the abyss and have another one forged for them. A process which takes at least 8 hours of intense ritual casting and uses a large number of mains demons as part of the raw materials. When the new weapon is formed, the bonding takes place, and wherever the old weapon is, it then melts away into a puddle of ichor. Now, if you want to get creative, and who doesn't, think of combining a weapon with the thematic traits of a specific demon lord and the traits of a type of demon other than mains, which could be a part of this weapon's creation. What does a Garistro Axe of Orcus look like? What can it do? How would the Molydeus of Orcus look and behave? The possibilities are enormous. So what's on the 400th layer of the abyss? Well, this place is known as the Mountain of Woe. This is the realm of the Nalfeshni Lords of Woe. It is said that the Nalfeshni Lords of this realm, seated on their flaming thrones of hatred, have the power to determine whether new petitioners to the abyss, otherwise known as the souls who fall to this realm after they die and are judged to be worthless scumbags. It is on this layer that it's determined if they are transformed into either larvae, mains, dretches, or rutakin. There's also rumours of the Nalfeshni's power to promote or demote generals in the Blood War, and of course, with an endless supply of these least demon scum and toadies, they have developed a roaring trade in weapons and armour made using these demons as raw components. The Molydei themselves are victims of horrific transformative torture as well, really. They are selected from the demons in a demon lord's host, and they have to be from the true Tanar'ri stock. Usually it's the ones who perform acts of particular ferocity, especially to other demons, or show incredibly devious cunning, or a spark of high intelligence, which is most desired, since the physical form of the demon is going to be completely altered anyway. Also, those that display acts of genuine devotion bordering on worship of the demon lord are those that it selects. The typical reaction of the chosen is sheer terror and pleading for mercy, as the process itself is well known to be one of the most excruciatingly painful, tormenting processes. The final step being the bonding with the serpent avatar of the demon lord and having that extremely powerful will grafted to their mind and demon essence permanently. This is a rare event. The abyss is so vast and convoluted that it's very rare for a Molydeus to encounter another of its kind, and anyway, no two of them are exactly alike. Molydei are always under the constant and close scrutiny of their demon lord, thus they are unable to betray their lord. They simply don't have any choice or chance to do so. The demon lords will often safeguard artifacts known as their demon amulet and other powerful weapons in their warfare. Basically, the demon amulets are a horcrux in which the demon lord squirrels away a sizable chunk of their demonic power, just in case. The amulets are a safeguard, but they're also a risk, as to acquire one of them is to gain access and some potential control over that demon lord's spiritual being. As long as the amulet survives, the demon lord has the ability to return from seemingly utter destruction, so they are very, very important to them. Also, going off script a little bit, as I mentioned, a significant chunk of demonic power is like a demon essence in and of itself. So if the amulet is damaged or broken, there's a possibility that a powerful demon lord could spontaneously manifest and be a source of competition to the demon lord that it originally came from. So it's something to think about. Most recently showcased and statted out for the pages of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, on page 134 we find the listing. It's very faithful to the original concept and suitably formidable for the Molydei. At a challenge rating of 21, this is a fearsome foe. It's a rare event that player characters are going to encounter Molydeus all on its own, of course. It will most likely be down lounging in a squalid paradise of its own devising, somewhere on one of the countless ruined plains that make up the Abyss. They might be sitting on a huge pile of trophies and spoils of war, simply pondering past victories. They might be the centre of a massive pavilion, a carnival of torments where they have tasked demon hunters to hunt down and bring them back mortal creatures who have stumbled onto the Abyss from across the multiverse, with the final fate of these poor souls now being a slow and deliberately cruel bite from the Molydeus' serpent fangs and a horrid transformation into a main stretch or rudderkin, thanks to the venom's supernatural effects. Most of the time, however, they will have a number of closely attending Babaus, Marilith and Kazmes surrounding them like loyal captains, who in turn are in command of their own hit squads of other demons and fiends. If a Molydeus does show up on a Prime Material world, they are a very sure sign that the attention of a Demon Lord is very much focused on that place, and that's never a good thing. Please hit the like button if you made it this far, subscribe if you like what I do, check out my Patreon for the exclusive content and all the full scripts for these videos. This channel is now represented on the low-cost monthly subscription platform Viewer Prime. Go sign up with my code AJ Pickett to support me, support creative freedom free of advertisers' unwelcome influences, and give YouTube some competition. Buy some of my swanky merchandise, wear your geek with pride, and as always, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more for you very soon.